All right, good morning, everyone. It is Sunday morning, day before Labor Day for me, and I don't know when it is for you, but it'll be a few days before this is up. But this is officially the exit interview of the GT4. I'll be taking a deposit, very likely here after I finish washing, and I'm going to do a FaceTime with a guy. He's going to give me a deposit. He's to work out, the particulars on the finance side of things, and the GT4 is going to go on to the next person. We'll explain as we wash the car here today. This is the dirtiest it's ever been, probably ever will be. It is just fresh back from the mountains. I actually got back on Wednesday, and the car's been sitting in the garage for a few days, and so it's now I wanted to have a full day where I could go and get this thing cleaned up. We'll see how well our detailing and coating has done, but it's time to send it on to the next gent. The cool thing here today, we're using the new Active 2.0. So right now I'm using a 7.0 nozzle, and we tested this at 1,000, right at 1,000 psi, probably 9. I think it was 1,010 psi at 2.4 gallons a minute is what we're getting right here. So we're expecting this pressure washer to be around 350 bucks, somewhere give or take 50 bucks or so, depending on what shipping costs and all that work out to be. So I'm going to try on each wheel, I'm going to try a different size nozzle to see what I prefer. The pressure drops a little and the flow increases, almost directly proportionally to the orifice size change. So we'll try it out. And we'll see how it works. This should be down here. I dry ice cleaned the calipers last night while I was cleaning up the calipers for the M2. So here's the methodology. So let me just tell you where I'm at here. And you're going to say, man, I thought you loved this car. I do love this car. I really do. It's not like a long-term love affair like the E92 behind you. But I do really, really like this car. And it's something I needed to scratch this itch ever since. It was probably 2000. When did the 981 come out? The previous gen. Ever since those cars showed up in the mountains, the GT Smokies, and I drove Garrick's car with the Fab Speed exhaust on it, and I'm like, man, I'd really like to have one of these, not just to experience on a single drive, but to really experience it longer term and to have own it. But this car really is. Now, I don't know about the GT4 RS, and I know all of you are saying, just get the GT4 RS. Well, you can't. You can't just get the GT4 RS. It doesn't work that way. You can't get them. They're not available. If you want them, you're going to have to pay $100,000, $200,000 more than it costs. And maybe someday I'll be able to buy one secondhand, and maybe I will. But depending on how many of those they actually get produced, on how what kind of value those are going to hold. The GT3 is my car. Always has been, always will be. Wow, that's moving some water, people. I think that 1,000 psi is the way to go. I don't think you really want any more. Ooh, somebody swapped out my sprayer here for me. That's awesome. A new Detail Factory brush. So I took the car to the mountains, and I'm kind of in this limbo land because I have a GT3 touring coming. Now, I hadn't been to the mountains since 2019. Not because of anything other than I haven't been able to drive. But otherwise I would have been back to the mountains. And of course I bought this house in the mountains. It's going to be our first Destination OG property. And so I've been trying to figure out, what do I want to do there. I've talked about, I bought the G80 M3. So that way that could be a rental car up there, you borrow my car sort of thing. I said I was going to switch nozzles, so let's go to 6.0. And so I'm using the little white tip nozzle instead of the normal one. Gosh, we got a lot to talk about, but I want to talk about the GT4 first, and then we'll get into pressure washers and products and stuff like that. So this is 6.0. So this will bring me up to around 1100 PSI, down to about 2.3 gallons a minute. So we sacrifice a little bit of flow for the for pressure. The key to carbon ceramics is to get the brake dust out of the system by using a pressure washer. Otherwise, your brakes squeak. In the old days, I'd have a cheap car. If your brakes squeaked, it was like you'd be cringing. On a GT car, it's like a badge of honor. So, took the car to the mountains. Mike brought him up there. Everything got up there nice and safely. The trailer did really well. His truck, no problem getting it up there. We went to Fontana Village. I wanted to experience this car there, and really, it's the only mountain car I really have. That E92, I'm telling you, is not going up there. It's especially as dirty as this thing is. I don't want that. That's my baby over there. That sucker's gonna stay. I'm gonna drive it, but it's gonna stay bubble wrapped. I'm gonna rip around the back roads around here, and that's about it. So this was the car. This was the car to take to the mountains. And I knew it would do great. And I will tell you this, you're gonna get all mad at me about saying this, but I'm gonna just be honest with you. I took it off when we opened up the trailer, and I'm excited, gonna go drive the thing. And it just felt like this is only because, of my Porsche GT3s, the GT3 RSs. It just felt like, shoot, it's just a GT4. I felt this like, internal, I kept, reverting to this, like, I wanted to let everybody know, hey, I'm a GT3 guy. I got a GT3 coming. It's kind of like when I was driving the Corvette. I wanted to like yell from the treetops, hey, this isn't my car. I'm just renting. I'm just borrowing this for a little while. I know that's ridiculous, and I'm not actually saying that, but that's what I'm feeling, if you will, is that, snobbery of, I'm a GT3 guy. I've got a GT3 coming. I only sold my RS because, to pocket some, it's just the right thing to do, pocket some cash. And I'll come back to it now. And many of you probably could have predicted this. I'm already ready to come back to it just a few months later. So, drove the car sounds good. Thing rips in the mountains. The nice thing about the GT4 is you can really wind it out, unlike the GT3. You can't wind it out quite as much because you're going a lot faster. But, right off the bat, it was really great, really nice. Let's do the other wheels and we'll come back to the exhaust tips. I'm gonna P21S them. So here I am, back in my Mecca. Dang it! Drop the gun on the ground, Dumbo. I'm in my own personal Mecca, and I wasn't able to drive everywhere I wanted to drive, but it was a really great to get back there. It's actually helped me. I've been able to drive down the highway here. It was awesome when I got home. The mountains have fixed me many times. That's why I'm so excited to live there, have a house there. Not live there permanently, but be able to live extended periods of time there. So, you know, I'm ripping the car, driving it, you know, it's great. And, you know, at the end of the trip, it was probably like day 5, day 6, maybe day 5. I realized what was happening. You know, I was there in probably, I think it was 2018, maybe 2017. I had taken my GT350 up there. It did great. And I think I sold the GT350 maybe a few months after that. And go back to an E92 M3, the last one, the giveaway car we just did. And so I felt that same feeling. Now, I didn't identify it when I was in the mountains with the GT350, but I felt the same feeling. You know, I wanted to have a GT4, I wanted to experience it. I have a unique opportunity to be able to do these things because of, you know, what it is. You know, I do this for a living. I make videos about cars and detailing them and driving them and playing with them and all that stuff, modifying them. And so I always have a unique opportunity to buy cars. And I get to make some money and connect with some people. I have tons and tons of people that follow and buy from us that were, you know, GT3, they're GT350, GT500, 5.0 owners, Mustang owners. And so it benefits me to try and buy different cars. So I just felt that feeling of completion. Like, okay, I really like this car. It doesn't howl through the mountains like a GT3 RS or GT3 does. You know, I'm having this kind of short-term response, and I think that's what it is. It's not snobbery. I love many cars, cheap and expensive, and you know, I have certain affinities to certain types of cars, but I felt I think that feeling of sorry, I'm supposed to be using a different nozzle. That feeling of letdown is really not letdown. It's a feeling of, okay, a feeling of this is fun, a feeling of completion. So in normal Matty fashion, I don't mess around. I decided the decision was this. I wasn't sure how to do this. Like, is this car going to go to the mountains and stay at the Helen house? I mean, I'm going to send it up there all the time. It's not the car I really want there. But is this the car that becomes the mountain house car for me? And then we'll do the. So now we're up to about 1,200 psi, but we've moved down to about 2.2 gallons a minute. 2.1, I think it was 2.18 or something like that on a 5.0 nozzle. The key in the mountains, or any kind of long-term driving thing like a rally or something, don't frickin' rub on your car when you're there. Wait till you get home and you have all your stuff to really clean it properly. So, you know, I make the decision, I think the 7th day, and I feel like it's time. And I came to some significant clarity on what it is I want to do with my cars and what cars I want where. And so the E92 stays. The E92 gets outfitted. Right now it's the suspension and brakes are going to go on this week and next. We're going to get that set up. The exhaust is done, the intake is done, the interior is done. Still waiting on the short shifter. The E36, my seats are done, so E3's coming up in a week and a half. So E3's coming up to deliver the seats and finish the stereo. And then the E36 and the E36 suspension is here. So Barry from 3DM is coming. We're going to do videos on that. So because of the mountain experience, the mountain house, the Helen house, I now am going to have, you know, kind of different cars for different purposes. And so the clarity was, especially after seeing how dirty this car got, the E92, the E36, and you guys are gonna get mad at this, but I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I don't give a crap what you want, this is what I want. So the E92, the E36, and the GT Touring, the GT3 Touring, will be my Florida cars. They're the cars that stay here. They may venture up to the mountains once or twice, but I'm not going out in a group or driving those in the crazy, you know, in the filth up there and doing, you know, doing the doing that happens when you're in the mountains. So I'm not doing that. So those cars will stay here. That's what I was struggling with. I'm like, well, you know, I'd really want a GT3 for the mountains, and maybe I'll just take the Touring up there every so often. That's not really what I want. So the GT4 is going, the Tesla's going. The Tesla, I like the Tesla, but it's just occupying space. And it'll force me to drive my E92, my E36 more often, and not cop out to the Tesla. It'll force me to, you know, only have 3 cars here. Maybe I'll actually wash the Raptor more if I limit that, you know, limit the amount of cars I have here. I'll generally have some sort of giveaway car as well. Like after the M2 is done, I plan on doing the Gen 2 NSX. I'd like to get one of those and modify it and experience it, and, you know, decide if I want that long term. One of those long term, so that car will come and go. The M2 will come and that will go as well. So then up in the mountains, what I'm going to do, the reason I'm selling this and selling the Tesla is I'm going to get a 2016 GT3 RS. I know that 2019, the 991.2 is better in pretty much every measurable way, but I like the flaws of the 16. And, you know, I wish I didn't sell mine for 155 grand. Yeah, see, I don't like this extra pressure from the 5.0. So the 4.0 nozzle gives you 1300 PSI, so definitely, I know I don't want that. I like the 7.0 nozzle, I can already tell. But many of you prefer pressure. If you feel like you're getting more done, I prefer flow. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sell these 2. I'm attempting to stay under control and not go crazy and try to buy the car like next 5 minutes. But I'm going to get a 16 RS. I haven't decided, you know, the way that they're priced. They're priced more than over MSRP. Most of them are around MSRP. So that kind of stinks. But I'm going to get over MSRP on this. I'll get a little bit around MSRP on my Model 3, and so it's not as big of a deal. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the G80. So the G80 will be there, the ultraviolet that I have on order that'll come in September, October, something like that. And I'll have the .1 RS there as well, and then I'll let you pick. You borrow the house from me, you borrow either one of the cars. I'm either going to get ultraviolet, GT silver, or white. I don't want lava, so don't be sending me a bunch of lava cars. And I'm gonna do, I'll likely do the full Dundon performance package, the intake, the exhaust, the headers, the whole thing on that car. I'm gonna put my Vossen wheels on it, and then it'll probably be like $2 grand for the week to borrow that car, which is still way less. So that's the thing to keep in mind on the mountains. If I rent this house out for $6,500 or $6,000 or something, it's going to be way freaking less than it's worth. And what it's really worth in real, you know, in the regular marketplace. So what I have here is P21S polishing soap. And so we finally got this in the store. So what you do here, this is a good, not a full metal polish, but a good sort of in between, like a little hybrid. Has a little bit of abrasiveness to it. You take your applicator, your sponge, wet it a little bit, wring it out, put some soap on here. I've been using this crap for a decade now. And then this gives me the ability to just clean up the tips. And I'll do this once every, depending on the car. Like the E92, I'll have to do this a little more often because it doesn't have cats, but this car does. Yeah, not super dirty. So, the GT4 is going. I'm selling it for $145,000, which is $20K over what I paid for it, which is a fair comparison to. I hate this whole thing, but that's what it's worth. It's worth a little more. It's probably if I'd worked really hard, I could probably sell for $160. But too much pressure. I hate that. Let's get this thing out of here. 7.0. Yeah. Flow, baby. Flow is what you want. Look at that. Now I can actually clean this thing without shooting it out of my hand. Here's the cool thing about this new Active, like even the Krenzel, you can't, I still not choosing the Active over the Krenzel, freaking telling you that right now. But the, this Active 2.0 should be available in a month or so. We'll get into it. I'll get into it a little bit more after I finish telling the GT4 story. But you're gonna be able to run multiple nozzles on it. So the P21S is in the store. It's available. You can get it anywhere, but it helps if you buy it from me. Throw this thing. Dang it. I missed. Oh. Feels good to get this car clean. I feel like I can feel it when I'm sleeping at night. Like that I know that I have an extremely dirty car that needs some love. So 2016 GT3 RS and GT Silver, white. I want, carbon ceramics. I don't really care what color the wheels are. I'm probably gonna buy like an 8 or 10,000 mile car. I don't think it's really necessary to buy a 2,000 mile version, unless I find one that's really great. I don't want to pay 270 grand for it. Because what I want to do is I really want to enjoy that car. I don't want to love it too much, like I love my E92 or I love my, what I'm going to love my GT3 Touring. So do yourself a favor if you care. Go watch the video I just put up a couple of days ago of me ripping in this car in the mountains. And then just search, you know, search driving GT3 RS. And you'll find videos of me driving the 2016 with the AWE or with the Dundon Catless. And you'll see how, you'll see why. And then the byproduct is I can help pay for that darn GT3 by letting some people borrow from me. Which sweetens the deal to go and rent the mountain house even more, man. Borrow the mountain house. Yeah, dude, I'm pumped about my plan. So the G80 will be there in the mountains. The GT3 RS will be there in the mountains. The GT3 Touring will be here in Florida. The M3s will be here in Florida. So what I'm doing in the interim, this car's getting sold. The M2CS is getting put together so I can go and drive it and experience it. I'm certain I don't want the M2 forever, but I think it'll be a lot of fun to shoot all kinds of driving videos and detailing videos up there in the mountains while I'm up there. And we can complete that chapter, and it'll solve the problems that I won't have a car in the mountains. It's because my GT3 Touring isn't going there. It's not here yet anyway. And then I can actually wait and find the right GT3 RS. You know me and waiting though. We'll see how long that lasts. So there's the active setup. We'll have a video up this week with all the particulars on it. So I'm not going to go into that here, but it's performing really well. You know, it's a cheap, you know, Chinese machine that James put a lot of effort into doing cost benefit performance increases. So I'm able to, you know, it's got 0.4 GPM more than the Krenzla, and it's what, less than a third of the price. It's pretty awesome. Now I'm not keeping this. This won't be here long term. So we're gonna wash with some decon soap, and I wanted to try something. I put 100 milliliters of Green Star and 150 milliliters of GSF in my foam cannon. So we'll increase the alkalinity of the GSF. Just because the car is super dirty. What am I doing? I don't fill this up first. You got me all distracted with the new active pressure washer. So we are going to sell a frickin' billion of these things. It's really, really frickin' good. And, you know, it should be a roughly, you know, it should be a machine that lasts years versus, you know, the other machines last what seem to be not nearly as long, months. You know, it's a 200-hour rated machine versus a 100-hour rated machine. Let's see. This is a 1.25 millimeter orifice. On the foam cannon. So the GT4 has done me well. It's very clear to me that right now, at least right now, the best option is the way I have it set up. Over axle pipes, valves disconnected. You don't need the valve controller. Valve controller is worthless. You're never going to turn the valves. You're never going to mess with the valves. The gearing people are always talking about is a bunch of nonsense. The gearing's fine. It's freaking perfect for the mountain. I think the reason why people, obviously it's because a bunch of dork journalists don't know what they're freaking talking about. Talking about, because they don't own GT4s. They just drive somebody else's for like 15 minutes. But the gearing's freaking perfect. It's fine. I don't know about perfect, but it's fine. Why would you spend $25,000 and have all kinds of chattering problems and potential? So the sole over axle pipes is the best setup, I think. It's the best way to go. It's lower it a little bit, and then these darn signature wheels. Pick the style of signature wheels you like. Call up Jimmy and order them for your GT4, because he has that offset freaking perfect, like exact. Couldn't be any better. Not a hint of a rub. I mean, I think I hit 1.4 G's, lateral G's on the car was the peak. I can already tell. This car's cleaning up beautifully. Easily. Let's take it from Todd Cooperrider always talked about, the reason you detail or talks about, you detail a car so that way you can go out and experience it and then be able to clean it up. So that's the plan. So the GT4 is going to go on to a new home. It's done me well. It's checked the box. Just like the GT350, everybody asks me, man, are you going to get a GT500 or GT350? I'm like, no, it's just, I feel like that chapter's done. I'm not saying I'll never get another one, but I feel like that's complete. I don't feel the need to go and get another one. Unlike the E92 that's come and gone and come back again. I feel like we've been acquainted. We dated for a while. Now it's time to move on to my wives, Move on to the future. So it's not a somber thing, and I can feel it. It doesn't feel like, oh man, I'm going to be really regretful. No, it feels right. It feels correct. It feels like this is, it's time. And I was misconstruing that with snobbery when I was in the mountains with, I'm just complete. I feel complete, I feel good about it. GT4 doesn't suck. The GT350 doesn't suck. It's good, it's great. It's just, it's not the one. Never was going to be the one. But I do think you can. I think a GT4, GT3 RS, even though the interiors are pretty much the same, they can both exist for you. They give you that manual, scratch the manual itch. I was really surprised at how much it made me appreciate the PDK. That the PDK is still a blast, in the mountains, because you shift a lot more. Part of it is the gearing is different than GT3, but most of it is just because you can, just banging, changing gears just to change them for the fun of it. You know what I'm saying? Gosh, what an easy, very simple, easy cleanup here. As dirty as this thing is, cleans up just like normal. Again, I'm using some decon soap. I'm using a little bit of all-purpose cleaner to boost the alkalinity a little bit, just to make it a little easier to clean. You wouldn't want to do that with a wax, because then you'd be taking the darn wax off. But with a coating, you can do that, no problem. But I could not be more excited. You know, we're gonna get into those. We did a lot of hiking when we were up there. Not a lot, but you know, hiked several times when we were up there the past week. Mike and I. And then when Tommy comes up, or Jeff comes up, and Nick and Bryce and Kyle and whoever comes up, whenever they come up, we're gonna have a freaking blast. This is not the mountain house of Matt's richness. This is the mountain house. This is the house that OG built. This is the house that we're all collectively. Now, I'm the organizer, so I get to frickin' own it. Got to get something for all the risk and effort and ideas, right? So I'm the one that gets to own it. But we all get to experience it. And the people that get bent out of shape about that, they're not coming to it anyway. So stop your, I mean, you can complain all you want, but it's not going to stop me from chasing. Yeah, so I gained a lot of clarity the past week on what I want to do, how I want to do it. The big change in me as a human is that I'm going to make this decision to make this change, but it's not for life. I may be wrong. It won't, there's no such thing as wrong in this situation. It's only, well, you know what? After having the .1 RS and the .2, I really need the .2. The .2 really is that much better. Maybe I'll come back to you and be saying that. But is that the worst thing to have happen in the world? I don't think so. So I'm hoping to have the house, phase 1, which is garage and furniture. Phase 1 of the house will be done the goal would be to have it by mid-July. And then we'll have a better idea here in the next few weeks what that's going to look like. And then we'll let people, the early adopters that want to go up this year, experience the house in phase 1. Phase 1 is still going to be awesome. Phase 3 and 4 is going to be amazing. So, but we're going to open it up here soon. And then we're going to use those people, the people that want to early adopt, will help us learn how to do this. After I finish this car, I'll run over and look at some mattresses. So, phase 1 on the first house, like I'm not buying a bunch of $8,000 mattresses. I don't have I have like a $3,600 mattress. I'm just gonna buy a bunch of, I need 4 of them, 4 king size mattresses. And so I'm gonna go look at, you know, what's comfortable, what's acceptable. All the beds will have, they'll all have Columbia pillows. They'll all have, not sure what sheets yet. So I gotta find some decent sheets. But I think our buddy Troy Reed, he sent me the sheets and towels to get from Frontline. I don't think I'm gonna do that level of stuff. I mean, their sheets are $400 a set. The towels are $70 a piece. I think we're headed in that direction where we'll have really great high-end stuff, but not right off the bat. Got to have some room to go, you know? I know to some of you, you think $5 grand a week, $6 grand a week. God, you should better have it a lap of luxury. I'm like, that's you have a distorted frame of reference for what things cost. because this is a freaking $2 million house. This isn't a $320,000 house that you're renting for $3 grand. This is a freaking monster. The maintenance costs on this alone, it's gonna be insane. So you and your betters and entitlement can shove it. I'm not doing that. We're not having that. You're not touching my frickin' house with a 10-foot pole. This is gonna be for those who understand simple math and understand how frickin' great it's gonna be, what you're gonna get for what I'm doing. There will be no place like this in the world. There can't be. I'm the only one who knows how to do this garage the way that I do a garage. So there will be no other experience like this that exists. It's gonna be awesome. I'm so excited. And now I'm even more excited that I got the car situation figured out. But what we're gonna do with the cars, this isn't like you go and rent the G80 and like, okay, we're gonna take the G80 hiking. You better rent a freaking car. You know, I'm not taking we took my truck hiking. You know, you better not be driving off the road in my freaking GT3. And I know you're thinking, wow, you know, rental, how are you gonna know? I just know the people that are gonna do this are gonna do the right thing. So, you know, if you're gonna come borrow the house, the thing I'm trying to do here is if you live in Oregon or you live in California or Utah and you wanna come out, let's say my buddy Chris Kim or Nick Jones or David Beaver or somebody, they wanna come out and borrow the house and drive one of the cars. They're gonna rent a Tahoe to get from the airport, drive the Tahoe to the grocery store when you have 4 people with you, or take the M3 to the grocery store. But if you're going whitewater rafting, take the frickin' Tahoe. Do what you would do if it was your car. That's what you do when you borrow something from somebody. And that's why we're not calling it renting. That's why we're calling it borrowing. And of course, I have no way to police that. No way of knowing. Other than I just know that most people are gonna do the right frickin' thing. And I'm gonna, have that honest conversation with them. Don't be driving down the dirt road on my GT3 RS. It's not yours. I don't care that you spent $2 grand to rent it. It's mine. Just like if you borrowed my Sonic ratchet and you broke it, get me another one. But I think what I gotta do is I gotta create a rental company. Add it to the list. So we gotta create a rental company, and that rental company will own the cars. That way I can get insurance, commercial rental insurance, because doing it through Turo isn't gonna work because they take 40% of the money. Then I'd have to charge $3,000 just to cover Turo. Wouldn't you rather me do a little bit of work, create a business, That way you can rent it for a much, much more reasonable sum. I mean, to be able to take a GT3 to the mountains for 7 days and drive it, 1,000 miles for $2 grand, that's freaking sick. And who knows, maybe I start doing this and I find out that my numbers are way off and we need to do it for more. Even still. So the GT4 doesn't fit into that equation. Other than that really annoying whiny motor on this thing, it's what an amazing washing experience. $350 pressure washer that decimates all. I do have to actually clean the interior, vacuum and wipe it all down because you get all kinds of pollen and stuff. So I have the 765 here. I'm still using this one to determine viability here. We should have it up in the store in the next few days. Should have them in stock here shortly. Sure enough, what do you know? I worked my face off for years and now I see a bunch of other detailing retailers have the Ego stuff. They don't even know anything about this crap. So funny. You're welcome. All right, everyone, so that's a wrap on the GT4 and GT3 RS incoming at some point. Yeah, I think this is, feels right, feels good. So even though I'm gonna part ways with another beloved car of mine, it's time. So thanks for watching, thanks for being a part of the GT4's life. I'll enjoy its life in the next person's hands. And again, I think it's sold, so you may be seeing me have a video saying, all right, GT4 hasn't sold, so I still need someone to buy it, but it's been great. I guess we'll see you soon on the next car in the mountains and doing some more washing on some other things. But anyway, if you're interested in the Tesla, I'm going to sell the Tesla for 65. It has like 8,000 miles on it, but 65 bone stock. Probably bone stock with spacers on it because it looks terrible without spacers, and has better tires on it. But I'll be, if you wanted to buy it as is, it's what you should do. You should buy my Model 3. It's set up really great. So it has like a freaking $12,000 suspension on the darn thing with all the mountain pass. Maybe it's not that much. It was like $8 grand or something for all the parts and pieces that put it together. The alignment's great. The wheels are awesome, the tires are great, and then it has carbon ceramics. So anyway, 85 grand, just to make it easy for me, just hit me up and tell me you want it. And don't do this like him and haw, just tell me you want it. Well, I don't understand this. The people with GT4, so what are you thinking? What do you mean, what am I thinking? It's 145,000 bucks. Just call me and buy it. I don't understand what the big question is. There's 45 videos on it. Go watch that in an afternoon. It drives me crazy. Like, well, let's talk about it. I mean, what are you thinking? Just freaking say, hey, Matt, I'll buy your GT4. Done. What's so hard about that? Anyway, this is supposed to be a positive ending. So anyway, we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned for more crazy.